Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we're back with another trade tree video. Been a little while since I've done one of these ones, but we're back here with another trade tree video. In today's video, we're looking at the Mattias Janmark deal. It's now just over 4 years old, and we'll see how the Sharks, Blackhawks, and Golden Knights all fared in that deal. Touch on this trade tree coming up right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to the video here at the End-to-End Hockey channel. Now before we get into this video, don't forget to like this video and subscribe below. Thank you for all of your support. I would never be able to do this without all of you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below. Don't forget to leave a comment. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. And don't forget to stay tuned for more videos coming out in the very near future. So in today's video, we're back with another trade tree video. Didn't do one last week, but we're back here with another trade tree video this week. And today, we're looking at the Mattias Janmark trade tree. So back in the 2021 season, when it was the shortened season, the Chicago Blackhawks were once again dead last in the NHL, were once again being a really bad team, so they were selling off some of their UFAs. One of their UFAs was a guy in Mattias Janmark. Now, Janmark was a solid bottom six guy who wasn't really helping the Hawks given the fact they were not a playoff team. So come the 2021 trade deadline on April 12th, the Chicago Blackhawks will strike up a three-team deal with two Pacific teams in the Golden Knights and the San Jose Sharks. The trade was as follows. The Chicago Blackhawks acquired a 2021 second and 2022 third round pick, both the Vegas Golden Knights. From the Vegas Golden Knights, in exchange, the Vegas Golden Knights acquired Nick DeSimone as well as a 2022 fifth rounder, the Chicago Blackhawks. And because of being a third party in this deal, for retaining 25% of Mattias Janmark's contract, the San Jose Sharks also received a 2022 fifth round pick. That was the Buffalo Sabres via the Vegas Golden Knights. So it was a very interesting trade. So coming out of this deal, the Hawks had a second and third round pick, the Knights had a fifth round pick in Janmark, and the Sharks had a fifth round pick as well. So we'll start with the Sharks side because it's quite simple. It was only one thing that they got. That was a 2022 fifth round pick. It wound up being 138th overall, but instead of using that pick, they would wind up making a draft day swap with the Columbus Blue Jackets. The swap was as follows. The Columbus Blue Jackets acquired the 138th overall pick, 2022 fifth rounder, from the San Jose Sharks in exchange for a fifth round pick in the 2023 draft. So basically, just swap fifth round picks, and the Sharks traded back a year. So very interesting note there. So the Sharks would then have the 130th overall pick in the 2023 draft, and they wound up using that selection to take Axel Landon, a defenseman, 130th overall in the 2023 draft. So Axel Landon is currently an unsigned prospect still in the San Jose Sharks organization. He's 20 years old. He's a right shot defenseman, like we said, taking fifth round, 130th overall in the 2023 draft. This past year, he played in Allsvenskan over in Europe, where he had 2 goals and 8 points in 45 games. So it was a pretty solid season there for Landon after he had a couple of good seasons over in Allsvenskan, over in the Junior Sweden League. He's so far this year gone into 8 games with Liga, putting up no points. So I'm not sure if he'll ever sign a contract with San Jose Sharks, but he's still currently in the San Jose Sharks system. So that's what they currently have as part of the Mattias Janmark deal. Next one over to the Vegas Golden Knights, as they got a couple of pieces because of this deal. So the first thing that the Vegas Golden Knights got as a part of this deal was Mattias Janmark. So at the current point of the trade, he had 10 goals and 19 points in 41 games with the Chicago Blackhawks, so on pace to have one of his better point totals in recent memory. He wound up having a goal and 5 points in 15 games with the Vegas Golden Knights in the 2020-2021 season. He also had 4 goals and 8 points in 16 games in the postseason, helping Vegas get to the conference final, where they lost against the Montreal Canadiens. At the current point in time, Mattias Janmark would sign a 1-year extension in Vegas. So instead of leaving as a free agent, he wound up extending his stay with the Golden Knights. So the following season, he will remain with Vegas, where he would put up 9 goals and 25 points, tying his third career high in points, which was a pretty solid season there from Janmark in 67 games. So that was the only season in franchise history the Vegas Golden Knights missed the playoffs. So with Janmark's contract at an end, they never traded him at the trade deadline, and they wouldn't re-sign him anymore. He would walk away as a free agent and sign in the Edmonton Oilers organization, where he is actually currently right now. So very interesting note there, but Janmark spent a year and a half in Vegas, helped them get to one conference final, then didn't do enough to help them make the playoffs the following season, and then he left as a free agent. So at his current point in time, that branch of the trade tree ends for the Golden Knights because they don't have Mattias Janmark as current point in time. So they also got two other things along with Janmark as part of this deal, including Nick DeSimone and a 2022 5th round pick. Now they wouldn't keep that 2022 5th round pick. The 2022 5th round pick, which was 135th overall, they would package with the Rangers 2022 3rd round pick that they had currently in that system, and they wound up trading those two as a draft day package to the Toronto Maple Leafs. The full trade was as follows. They would trade the 95th and 135th overall pick, Chicago's 5th and the Rangers 3rd round pick, to the Toronto Maple Leafs to trade up in the 3rd round and have the 79th overall pick. And they would use that pick, and with the 79th overall pick in the 2022 draft, the Vegas Golden Knights selected Jordan Gustafsson. Now Jordan Gustafsson is currently in the 2nd year of his 3-year ELC, has an $830,000 AAV. He's 21 years old. He's a center prospect, so he's not doing overly bad. Like we said, 79th overall in the 2022 draft. This past season, playing the WHL, putting up 6 goals and 9 points in 8 games after he had 28 goals and 64 points in 72 games in WHL the year prior. So he looks like a decent player. Like he's not an overly great player in the Golden Knights system, but I think eventually he could challenge for like a 4th or 3rd line role in due time, probably not in the next couple of years, but he's still in their current system. So that pick did wind up helping Vegas get someone who's currently still in the system. And they also got Nick DeSimone. Now at the time of this trade, Nick DeSimone was mostly an AHL level player. Since then he's become more of like a call-up option, but during that season he had 5 assists in 14 games with the San Jose AHL affiliates, and also had 6 assists in 8 games with Rochester where he was loaned to. Never got into an NHL game during that time frame. So the following offseason he was a pending RFA, so the Golden Knights weren't looking to re-sign him, so they would make a trade with him just a couple of months after acquiring him in the Janmark deal. So the Golden Knights would trade Nick DeSimone in June, as well as a 2022 4th round pick that was the Winnipeg Jets, to the New York Rangers in exchange for unsigned RFA Brett Howden. Now at the time, Howden, who was originally one of the key pieces taken in the Ryan McDonough deal all those years back by the New York Rangers, hadn't really lived up to his potential. As the current point of this trade, he was coming off a season where he had a goal and 7 points in 42 games. Wasn't looking overly good for the New York Rangers, so he was acquired by Vegas. The following season, he did all right within the Golden Knights organization, putting up 9 goals and 20 points in 47 games with the Golden Knights. Then the year after, he had another okay season, being a solid bottom 6 forward, got into a little bit more games, but 6 goals and 13 points in 54 games. Then the following season, he had one of his better career totals, putting up 8 goals and 19 points in 72 games in 23-24 season. Then last year, Howden completely broke out, putting up a career high 23 goals, smashing his previous high of 9, and 40 points, smashing his previous career high of 23 in 80 games. And he's also been a really solid point contributor in the postseason. Like he's had a combined 15 points in 39 playoff games with the Vegas Golden Knights. So I mean, Howden has been a really good find for the Vegas Golden Knights. He just recently signed a long-term extension. So given the fact that they were able to get this done, partially because of the Mattias Janmark deal, makes me think this is sort of a win for the Vegas Golden Knights, getting Howden and Gustafsson, who are still under contract. And lastly, here going over to the 2 picks that the Chicago Blackhawks got. So we're going to start off with the 2nd round pick they got in the 2021 draft. So the Vegas Golden Knights were one of the teams who went far in the 2021 season, so that pick wound up being a very low pick for the Hawks in the 2nd round. It was 62nd overall, but they wouldn't trade it because this team was a rebuilding team. They would wind up keeping that pick, and they wound up selecting with the 62nd overall pick in the 2021 draft, thanks to the Vegas Golden Knights, Colton Dach. Now after being drafted, Dach had a really solid draft plus 1 season, putting up 29 goals and 79 points in 61 WHL games. The following season, he was a little bit injured. He put up 12 goals and 29 points in 23 WHL games. Last year, he actually had a really solid season in the AHL, his 2nd pro season, putting up 12 goals and 26 points in 33 games, and he actually got his first taste of NHL level action, putting up 2 goals and 7 points in 25 games. I don't think Dach's going to be a regular at the NHL level this year, but it seems like in the next year or two, Dach could be a really stellar top 9 addition for the Chicago Blackhawks. And even though it was a later 2nd round pick, they still have someone taken with that draft selection that they got in the Mattias Mattias Janmark deal, so that deal is still helping the Blackhawks to this day. Well, the third round pick they got in the 2022 draft wound up being 81st overall. Once again, they were still a team who was rebuilding. They didn't do any sort of draft, they swapped, they didn't trade it for any sort of immediate upgrades. They wound up keeping that pick and using that pick. And the Chicago Blackhawks, with the 2022 third round pick that they had, wound up selecting Samuel Savoy. Savoy, who I think is related to Matt Savoy, if I'm correct. I might be wrong on that, but he was a really solid player, taken in the third round. His draft plus one season, he wound up having 26 goals and 59 points in 60 games over in the QMJHL. Also had a solid season 2 years ago, putting up 10 goals and 22 points in 21 games. Was a little bit injured last year. He played his first level of pro action, putting up 7 goals and 22 points in 72 games. So wasn't an overly productive player in the Chicago Blackhawks organization, but didn't look too bad, and also had 6 points in 7 playoff games in the AHL last year with Rockford. So very interesting note there. But Savoy, just like Doc, as a guy who I think eventually in maybe 2 or 3 years time could be a top 9 forward, and someone who's still currently on the roster for the Chicago Blackhawks. So very interesting note there. But this trade, if you break it all down, the San Jose Sharks made a draft day swap to trade back a year after they got that first round pick in the Janmark deal, and they used that pick to select Landon, who is still with the current club. The Chicago Blackhawks saw a second round pick in 21 and a third round pick in 22, and they used those picks to select Doc and Savoy, who are both still currently on their club. And then the Vegas Golden Knights got Mattias Janmark, Nick DeSimone, and a 5th round pick in 2022. They used the 5th round pick to help trade up and acquire Jordan Gustafsson, who's on their roster. They got a couple of good seasons out of Mattias Janmark, who left as a free agent a couple of years ago. And they also got Nick DeSimone, who they would trade with a 4th round pick for Brett Howden. So basically, if you break this all down, the Hawks have Savoy and Doc, the Sharks have Layden, and the Golden Knights have Gustafsson and Howden. So all in all, if you break this all down, I think there's a lot of win-wins here. Like, the Sharks were never going to get an overly great prospect with that 5th round pick, but I do think Layden is a pretty solid prospect who might eventually be able to get into NHL games. The Hawks got a couple of really good picks, the 2nd and 3rd rounder they got, and getting Savoy and Doc with those picks were beautiful pieces of work there from the Blackhawks. And the Golden Knights still have Brett Howden as well as Jordan Gustafsson because of this deal. And Howden is currently a really solid bomb 6 forward who can produce 15 to 20 goals and 35 to 40 points. So very interesting note there. I think at this point, sort of like a win-win deal for all sides involved. I love to hear your guys' thoughts though. Do you think one team or another won this deal? And if you do, who do you think won this deal? And what's your opinion on how all this has played out over the past couple of years? Definitely leave your thoughts on all of that down in the comment section below. That's all I'm going to talk for today. We're going to like this video, and if you're like to subscribe below. Thank you for all of your support. I would never be able to do this without all of you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below. Don't forget to leave a comment. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Don't forget to stay tuned for videos coming out in the very near future. I also have a blog talking about news, rumors, analysis, stuff like that. So check that out. I've linked that down in the description below. Can't wait to see you guys all for the next video. See you guys soon.